are live here. Make sure you can see my mat. Live over here. Right, where are we? Okay. I think we're live over here. That's what you want to see when you first start going, right? All this seasick motion. All right. How are you guys with my... I have my placement better than this. I got that all figured out by now. Maybe I don't. Either that or it's just got to test me because it's the new year. Oh, all right. So how is everybody this morning? Right? Are you ready to move your body? I don't know if you've been with me for a little while, or hi Sandy, or you've been slacking off because the holidays. But either way, we're just going to get a nice little gentle stretch, kind of start us into our routine. If you fell out of your routine, get you going if you're just starting a routine. So be sure to listen to your body and do what is right for you any day. So you're at home, right? A lot of times when you're in a class and everyone else is doing something, you're like, oh, I got to do that, right? Or people are going to look at me. Well, you don't have anybody looking at you right now. So if you needed to take a child's pose for half the class, no one would even know, right? So modify and do what you need to do for yourself. Make this feel good, right? You shouldn't leave a yoga class feeling bad about anything, right? Nothing. And if you're looking to create a new practice, a new habit to get you back in or to get you started with this daily practice, definitely check in. I'll have it on anydayyoga.com. I'll have it on the Facebook page, on my page, my email list, right? Some information about a program to help us do that, because sometimes we need a little kick in the butt, right? That's why all those home gyms, they last for about a minute. And then they become like places to hang your laundry. Right? Because there's no follow-up, there's no accountability to it. So, and sometimes it's just not for you. Like a treadmill for me would definitely become a clothes hanger. So sometimes it just doesn't work out. But yeah, you have to play and see, and if you're interested in that, definitely just kind of keep your eyes open and you'll see what I've got in store. So yeah, just a nice little easy all over practice today, doing what you can do. So let's come to line the heels to the groin as much as you can. Take inner thigh rotation here so that you feel upright on your pelvis. If at any time you want to prop your hips up so it's easier to sit like this, definitely prop up. Try to relax into your hips, your shoulders. Good morning, guys. Okay. And engage your belly. So lift your pelvic floor, pull your lower belly in and up, sit tall through your sides, and relax into your hips and shoulders here. So you feel nice and tall through your spine, but grounded into your seat. And just notice how you're feeling this morning, whether there's areas that need a little extra love. Maybe there's areas that you really want to get a nice stretch into. Just becoming familiar and aware of those areas. Becoming aware of your breath. And see if you can gently begin to stretch that breath out. Slow the breath down. Smoothing it out a little bit. Finding that yoga breath, whatever that means to you. So why maybe you cueing to inhale, but you're not ready to inhale yet. Wait. Staying connected to that breath as we begin here. Let's extend the arms out to the sides. With an inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. And then exhale and bring them back down again. Nice and easy like that. Let's do it again. Inhale up. And exhale down. One more of those. And then back to the top. Exhale the left hand back to the mat. Take a little tip over to that side. Stay grounded into your seat. Extend long through the right side of your body. And on your next inhale, make your way back up to the middle. Switching sides, take it over to the right. Big full breath here. And then back up to the center. And we'll go one more time on each side like that. Take it left. Inhaling back to center. And then right. We'll come back to the middle. And then exhale, release the arms. Sitting up nice and tall here, let's take the left hand over to the right knee, right hand behind the back bit. Nice gentle twist over to the right. Sitting up nice and tall. Again, still feeling really grounded, tall through your spine. And then releasing that back to the middle, let's take our second side. We'll release that, come back to center, and then work a little bit deeper into this next one. So use your arms. Take that left hand over to the right knee again. Your right arm is going to be like your second spine, so push it into the floor so a little taller. Pulling against the knee, imagine rotating your belly button to the right. Turning your side ribs toward the back of your mat. Feel it in through the middle there. And then maybe see if you can draw your shoulder back a bit, looking over your shoulder if you want to engage in through the neck more. Still feeling rooted, tall. Taking those nice big breaths. And then releasing, coming back to the middle and over to your second side. So using the arms to draw yourself around a little bit deeper into this. Take your time. Moving up the spine. Staying connected to the breath. And then releasing back to the middle again. So let's come around onto hands and knees from here. Grounding into the four corners of the hands, nice and even, wrists under shoulders. If you need to cushion your hands, definitely cushion your hands or your knees back there. Knees underneath the hip bones. The belly's still working. We're going to inhale as we drop the belly toward the floor and pull the shoulder blades together on the back. And then exhale as you round your spine toward the ceiling. Kind of tug your tailbone under, chin to the belly button. And then just move back and forth between those two positions. Connect it to your breath. Going up and down the spine. You can work a little bit deeper into the tighter spots. Take one more flow. Really get in there as good as it's going to get for now. And then find a middle. So right with that neutral spine, take your hands forward or your knees back, depending on where you are on your mat, of course. And let your hips come forward for a kneeling plank. Watch that the body is aligned here. If you feel like your hips are drooping, pull them back up. If you feel like they're sitting back, bring them back into the middle. And we're just gonna hold this plank here, or kneeling plank. You can definitely move to a full plank if that's for you. And if you are in full plank, extend through your heels. Feel your legs help hold you up here. It's not just your arms and your chest and your shoulders. Make your belly and your legs and your bum work as much. And then nice and easy, let's just go ahead and drop it down to the belly. As control, staying in that same long line as you can here. And we're just going to spend a moment here. So make sure that the tailbone stays pointing towards your heels, keeping your lower back long. We're not going to go into any crazy back bends or anything. Don't worry about that too much, but we always want to protect the back. So the hands are next to the side ribs. We're going to hug those elbows in toward each other. And then just moving with your breath here. On an inhale, roll your shoulders up by your ears, together on your back, down toward your hip bones, and then exhale to release it. So connect it to the breath, in and out. And use primarily your shoulders, chest, upper back muscles here. We'll work with our hands in just a second, but we want to warm the shoulders. Let's take another like that. And then just release to the mat. We're going to keep that idea and we're going to add on to it. So let's roll our shoulders again. You're going to want to continue to breathe here though, right? So holding in this position, tailbones tucked. Use your arms, kind of like we did with our twist to make it deeper, right? Pull with your arms like you're going to pull your belly button forward. Feel the space, right? If you can, keep the pull, but then add a little bit of a press. And you can come up a little bit higher without pinching anything. You can breathe here, right? Important to be able to breathe. And then let's release that back down. Feel your triceps? Hopefully. So we want to go up like we came down. So make sure your belly's working. Kind of think belly button to the spine here. Press into your knees just enough to barely lift your hips. And they don't even necessarily lift up off the floor. Right? Feel that? Keep your pelvis doing that sort of work. Your bum and your thighs here. Hug those elbows in. Lift everything up off the floor together back to that kneeling plank. And then gently into a child's pose. So the body moves as a unit rather than the arms pressing the chest up off the floor and then yanking your belly up. So let's take those arms and stretch them out long here. Really reach away from the body, keeping the hips sitting back so you feel a nice stretch up your arms, the sides of your body.
Maybe you're feeling this through your back a bunch. Round into the four corners of the hands. Really feel the rooting down. And then from there, make your way into a down dog. So lifting the knees. Let yourself wiggle here. You can stretch more in through your shoulders. You can move in through your sides. You can stretch your legs. And allow yourself to ground in. So pressing down into the hands, pressing the chest back toward the thighs, maybe sinking the heels to the floor. Maybe they don't touch. Feel the stretch. That's what you're looking for. And then keep everything else the same here. We're going to lift the right leg. Press through the heels. See if you can feel that extra stretch. And then let your hip open. Take your toes a little higher. Watch that the shoulders don't shift. You can bend your knee, pointing it up toward the ceiling. And then take that leg straight, square your hips again. Release your toes to the floor. Taking it to the second side, same idea. Starting with the hips level, lifting the left leg. Let the hips open. Bending at the knee if that's for you. Keep the chest pressing back. Watch the shoulders. And then release that side. From here, walk the feet to the hands. Come to a standing fold. So feet up underneath the hip bones, toes point forward, and you're feeling even on the four corners of your feet. Yeah? Allow yourself to kind of walk in place. Bend into one knee, and then the other. Back and forth. Just waking up the hamstrings. Let your hands be where they are. So if that's not the floor, don't worry about it. They can be resting up on your thighs or somewhere in between. Bring it to center and bend both knees enough so that your belly touches your thighs. And your knees may need to be very bent and wherever. Take the arms behind your legs and wrap around. So hug the belly to the thighs, not the knees together. And see if you can take your legs straighter. Keeping the belly on the thighs. Let your head hang wherever you go. We'll release the arms. The knees can stay a little bent here if you like. Take the fingers to the lower back then and interlace there. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Stretch your hands away from your shoulders. Let your hands lift away from the back. If they do, don't make that the goal. Think about your shoulders. Drawing closer together, stretching further away from your ears. And then let's release. So taking your legs straight and taking your hands up to the thighs, even if you don't need them there, okay? Press away and come parallel to the floor, roughly. Your belly's in, your shoulders are back. You can lean on your hands or lean on your thighs if you need to lean on your thighs. And then we'll bend into the knees and come to a supported chair here. So take a second. Feet and toes pointing in the same direction. Feeling pretty even on your feet? Ideally, yes. Hang on if you need to hang on. Come center if you'd like. Extend the arms if that's you. Keep lifting the chest. So it's easy to sink into the hips if we drop the chest.
But we want to find the middle. The hips are low without sinking the chest. Take one more breath. And let them stretch to the ceiling and release the arms. So, take a nice big step back with your right foot. And we'll straddle out on the mat here. So it's a wider stance. Take as wide as is right for you. Toes are pointing forward here, belly's pulled in, shoulders are back. Yeah? Hands on your hips. Think bringing your elbows toward each other on your back here. And then from there, bring yourself over into that half fold again. So roughly parallel to the floor, that might be pretty close to a full fold depending on your flexibility, but do what you can with it here. Keep your hands on your hips. If you have a deeper fold, allow yourself to move there. So you still want to feel nice and even on your feet, trying not to rock back into your heels. Feel gravity pull you. If it's too much, you can always support with your hands on your thighs. And then keep the shoulders back, but allow your hands to move down toward the mat. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. You can prop with a block, certainly here. And if you need to bend your knees first, go ahead and bend your knees. Take your index and middle fingers. We're going to wrap them around the big toes. And then bend the elbows out to the sides and get a little pull on your toes to draw yourself into this deeper twist. Pull. If you need to, right? If you're already experiencing plenty of sensation, you don't need to add all the crazy stuff. Take another big breath. Release your toes and take the fingers to the lower back here. Interlace the fingers. Palms face each other, and we want just an easy little bend. We don't want to flip the elbows over. Pull your shoulder blades together and stretch your hands away, just like we did with our feet together. Same idea. If the arms kind of move away from your lower back, you may feel a little extra stretch from the extra body weight moving in that direction. Take one more breath here. And then we'll release the hands back to the mat again. Instead of having your toes point forward here, go ahead and turn them to point out toward the corners of your mat a bit. You may need to adjust exactly where your feet are. You'll know in a second here. So following your breath, on an exhale, go ahead and bend into your left knee. Watch that the knee is pointing in the same direction as the toes and it doesn't collapse in or out, right? And then come back to center and switch sides. Same idea, take a little peek, make sure your knee is where you think it is, and you're just going to move side to side like that. So as you can move deeper, you move deeper, but watch that the knee and ankle still has that same relation. And you can get fancier here when the leg is straight. You can flip those toes up toward the ceiling, right? Dropping them a little deeper to your hips. Just see where your body will go. And don't worry about it. There's no one to judge yourself against. Feel a stretch. Go once more on each side. And then we'll find the middle again. Turn the toes forward for now. And bring the hands either back up to the hips or support on the thighs again here. With an inhale, we're going to bring ourselves into that halfway place. So again, maybe parallel to the floor. Make sure you're not leaning into your heels here. The knees aren't bent.
Support with the hands on the legs if you need to. Keep the shoulders back. We're going to take one more breath. And then on an inhale, make your way all the way up. And then we're going to switch our feet a little bit. So turn your right toes in just a little bit. Turn your left toes toward the top of your mat. And then bend into your left knee. Looking for the big toe beyond the knee. You want to see pretty much just your big toe. So opening your feet a little wider if you need them to. Maybe the back toes need to turn forward a little bit more or out. Not anything past so that the back edge of your foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. And then the shoulders stay over the hips and we extend the arms. So notice the body weight, nice and even in your feet. It's easy to lean forward or lean back. See if you can find the middle. Let's bend the left arm, rest it on the thigh here. Bring the right arm up and over the ear. Stretch through your right fingertips and see if you can feel a long straight line from your right fingertips all the way through the right heel. So if you feel like your bum is kind of sticking up and you've got this big bend in your line, bring the hips down a little bit. If you need to step the feet in or prop up a little higher even here rather than the forearm to the thigh, then that's where you're at. It's still a straight line and you're still feeling a stretch, yeah? If you can sink deeper, of course you can sink deeper. We're going to take that right arm and stretch it toward the ceiling. Slowly take the left leg straight. And if you were leaning heavily with the hand or the forearm, you're going to have to change that just a little bit. You can still lean. Watch the knee though. You can have a block here. You can lean on your shin, just not on the knee. Bring the left shoulder kind of tucked under the right. We're going to take one more breath. And then let's release all that over into a lunge. Step back into your down dog. And then shift forward into plank. The belly's in, the legs are working, the knees can absolutely drop down to the mat. Keep the elbows tight as you come down to the belly. Hands next to the sideboards. You're going to roll those shoulders, pull, maybe add a little bit of a press, and then release back down. Remember, chest and belly lift at the same time, up and back to your down dog. And then let's go ahead and step the right foot forward. So toes to fingers, roughly, and you can always adjust them as we go. Drop the back heel, lift your upper body, and your legs should be something like you want them to be on your second side here. So check it out. Right toes pointing forward, left toes cut in a little bit. You can see your right big toe, yeah? Okay, so shoulders over hips, extending the arms when you're ready. Let's bend the right arm, rest the forearm, left arm up and over. Again, looking for that nice straight line. So propping the upper body up or dropping on into the hips, wherever that is, it's still a line, right? Turning that into triangle, left arm toward the ceiling, right leg straight, and again, adjusting where your hand falls. You can lean as long as you're not leaning on your knee. Keeping the left shoulder over the right, the belly's working. Still feel even in your feet. And then we'll release it over into our lunge again. Step back to down dog. On an inhale, shift forward to your plank. Knees if you need knees. That straight line all the way down. And then the hands next to the side ribs as we roll, pull, a little bit of a press. And then releasing that, up and back, down dog. So go ahead and drop on down to the knees and give yourself a child's pose. Let your shoulders rest forward with your hands at your heels if that feels better for you. Give yourself a moment. Take one more breath here. And then make your way back to your down dog. Stepping the feet forward, come to standing fold. Let's come in through that chair again here. So bending into your knees, coming up, supported, center extended, wherever with the arms. And then stretch to the ceiling and release the arms. So let's take standing balance then. And you can be off your mat, you can be near a wall, you can go wherever you'd like here. And then there's options, of course, with where the feet are to make it a little more or less intense. So we want to shift all the weight over into the right foot and then lift the left leg. Just bring the knee up. We're going to open that knee without letting the hips shift. And then you can bring the toes maybe to the floor so that the foot rests at the ankle. You can come up to the calf so you're truly on one foot. You can bring the leg up into the inner thigh maybe. So find where your body feels like it's challenged without feeling like you're going to fall down the whole time. Notice if you're gripping your toes into the floor, try to relax your toes. Hug your belly in, stand extra tall. And the hands can be where the hands need to be. So that might be out to your sides, like that big balance tool that the tightrope walkers use, right? It can be at your hip still, it can be at your center. The arms can extend together or open at the top. You can look up or not. And finding where you feel a little bit of a challenge without feeling like it's too much. Just falling in and out the whole time. It's just not that fun. Are you breathing? Yes, you have to breathe. Let's bring it back to center. And we'll release it all. So the same idea on the second side, whether it looks the same or not so much. Taking the weight over to the left, lifting the right leg and opening at the knee. So again, watch that the hips don't throw off here already. Okay, keep them where they're supposed to be. And then the foot falls where the foot needs to fall. Right? Take your time. If it's too steady, see if you can move a little higher. Watch that you're not on the knee joint, of course. Hugging in, belly's working, and then the hands go where the hands go. And if you do find a point where it might be a little too much, hold. If you need to move back, move back. If your brain can sort of get it, maybe you can continue to move on. Just see where the body will go. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll bring it on in and release it. So at the top of the mat here, if you stepped away, come on back. Let's reach the arms up, give yourself a full body stretch, and we'll take it over into a fold. Nice and easy all the way down. Stepping back, come to down dog. From our down dog here, let's go ahead and bring the right knee up behind the right wrist. Drop the left knee to the floor back there. And you can keep your toes tucked under, or you can take the top of the foot flat. It doesn't necessarily matter. But stretch that leg as long behind you as you can. And if this is enough intensity in your hip or your knee or whatever, if it's too much, of course, come out. But if it's enough, then you're done. If you want a little bit more, see if you can slide the knee over to the right a little bit. And then the heel may need to stay back by the groin, but maybe you can walk your toes closer to your left hand. So just want to see where that is. Take your time, move in, move out, whatever you need to do for yourself here. We want to keep the hips square. So if you just sort of roll over to the side, the stretch is gone. Find the middle. And you can stay up on your hands, or you can drop one down to your forearms, or maybe all the way down forehead to the mat. So find enough. Make sure you're breathing. Sometimes once you've held a little bit, you can move a little deeper, but sometimes your body has had enough and it's telling you to get out. So make sure you're listening to what your body's telling you to do. We'll take one more breath. And then gently make our way back up onto the hands. Releasing that back to a down dog. Let yourself stretch and move a little bit here if you need to. And then we're going to move to the second side. So let's bring the left knee up. Drop the right knee. And again, stretch that leg long back behind you. Changing the left leg if you're in that place, right? So maybe the knee opens, maybe the toes come forward, maybe neither of these things. Maybe one but not the other. Work to keep your hips square. Choosing to stay up on the hands or drop down. How far you drop down is entirely up to you. Watch that the hips don't shift. Staying in this center place. Listen to your body. Let's take one more breath. And then we'll come back up onto the hands. Nice and easy, make your way back out of that into your down dog. Again, letting yourself move and wiggle and stretch. Let's shift forward, coming back to our plank again. From the knees, if you need the knees, go ahead and take it all the way down to your belly. Everything hits the floor together, yeah? Maybe? Check it in, make sure everything's good. All right. So we're gonna work with Locust a little bit. Essentially an armless cobra, where we were earlier. So keep your tailbone pointing down toward the heels, just like we did earlier. Definitely wanna keep everything nice and long. This time here, the hands have some options, either down by your sides or maybe fingers interlaced behind your back. So your foundation is your pelvis. For right now, we're going to keep the feet on the floor as well. So press down into your feet, press down into your pelvis, and then do what we did with the shoulders earlier. Roll them up by your ears together on your back and down toward your hip bones, the fingers stretching back toward your heels. So make sure you can breathe here, right? If you fill up into your belly and then make your belly really hard, you can lift a little higher, but don't do that.
Breathe, right? Breathing is first. The stretch is secondary. But you may notice that you do rise and fall with your breath, and that's totally okay. Let's go ahead and release back down. Release your hands. Make a little pillow for your head. And you can rest your forehead or your chin on your pillow. You just want your head to be neutral. You don't want to be leaning off to one side or the other. We're going to work with just the legs here. So keeping the pelvis rooted, spread your toes really wide, and then think of extending your big toe toward the wall behind you, wherever that is. Feel your hamstrings kind of kick in there. Use them to lift your legs away from the floor. You can just squeeze your butt, right? But try to use your hamstrings instead. And your glutes will probably kick in. Try to keep that less than your hamstrings. And the legs are straight, so again, don't worry about high. Release that back down. And then we're going to put it together. Yay. So the hands next to the sides, right, or interlaced behind the back. Either one is still completely fine. And of course, there's other arm positions if that is something that appeals to you. You know what I'm talking about. So extend your big toe, roll your shoulders, curling your chest, using your hamstrings to lift your legs. Feeling long through the spine. Feeling every muscle from like your heels all the way through their shoulders. Working to hold you here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release everything down. Make a little pillow for your head. Turn your toes to point toward each other. This time you can rest a cheek to your pillow. Let yourself just kind of shift back and forth on your hips. We're going to come back to center. Take the hands next to the side ribs again. You got to get yourself up off the floor one last time. Make sure your belly's pulled in. Lift the belly and chest together, back to a kneeling plank or full plank. Gently all the way back into a child's pose. So let's come to sit up on the heels here. We're going to bring the legs around front. With the legs extended this time. So the legs are straight. We want to make sure we're upright on the pelvis. Belly's working, so we're sitting tall here. And just if you're not sure if you're a hyperextender, if you can have your feet flexed and lift your heels up off the floor, your knees can hyperextend a little bit. So you want to make sure that that the knee stays straight, not hyperextended. So if you need to pick a little baby bend even into the knees, keep that in your brain. So they're nice and tall here. We're going to stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. Keep the shoulders down and back, and lead from your belly button toward your thighs. When you can't move any deeper, let the hands just fall where they fall. So that may or may not be your toes. Shoulders are still down and back. Let's take another big breath. With an inhale, lift back up again. Keeping the length and alignment through your spine, and then releasing the arms. So So taking the soles of the feet to the floor, hang onto your hamstrings, lift your chest. Right? So the shoulders are going to stay down and back. The chest is lifting up toward the ceiling. You can already feel your abdominals working here. If that's enough, then you're done. If you want a little bit more, maybe just lift your toes up off the floor. And you can hang on for dear life with your hands or not in any position with your legs. So if your legs are straight, your toes are high. If we start to drop the legs, we're using the back more than the belly, and we want to use the belly more than the back. Yeah, we're still holding and we're still breathing, right? Bring the soles of the feet together. I don't know what's happening there. Soles of the feet together, hanging onto the ankles. Let the heels come in toward the groin. Lift your chest. We get birds here. Without taking your feet to the floor, take your index and middle fingers, wrap them around your big toes. Sit really, really tall. Keep lifting your chest. And how about extending the left leg? It doesn't have to be straight and it doesn't have to be wide. Just let the weight kind of shift over, staying centered as much as you can. Come on back to center. And then we will switch sides, extending right. Get back to the middle. And then take them both straight, or straighter, straightish. Keep lifting your chest, holding the balance. Bring the soles of the feet back together and hang back onto your ankles. Holding in this balanced position for just another moment. And then go ahead and see curve your spine and roll on down. So you're going to keep the soles of the feet together, let them come to the floor. And then just rest with the knees out to the sides. We'll draw the knees back together. And then nice and easy, draw them into the chest and rock a little bit here. So go ahead and take the feet flat to the floor again. And find neutral on your spine. So you're feeling even across your hips and your shoulders, your spine feels long, your neck is comfortable, or your head is comfortable, however your brain sees that. Change nothing else, but extend your right leg out toward the ceiling. If you felt a giant shift or wiggle or rounding of the pelvis, maybe you need a strap. Right? You can definitely use a strap behind your thigh or across the ball mound of your foot. And it doesn't have to be a fancy yoga strap. You can grab a necktie or a belt as long as it's wide enough, right? Or interlace your fingers behind your thigh. So notice the shift that your body did to make that happen. So again, sometimes it's the pelvis, sometimes it's the shoulders, sometimes it's this one hip that wants to kick up. Try and stay as neutral as you can. Exhale, draw that right leg in a little bit more toward your chest. And then inhale to let it go a little bit. So just nice and easy in and out like that. And notice where the leg will go before you start feeling that shift. Maybe you felt it just by taking the leg straight. Right? And just remember that when the rest of the body compensates, the body part that you're trying to increase the stretch in isn't really. It's reached its end.
kind of have to work there rather than just allowing the body to compensate all the time. Go once more like that, in and out. And then find your neutral, right? So a little bit of a stretch, but not crazy. Extend the left arm out to the left, and you're gonna glue that side of your body to the floor. If you feel that left hip lift, stop. Right? Support the outside of your leg with your right hand, and then let the leg start to fall out to the right. Take your time. That foot probably will not touch the floor. Find where the body weight starts to shift, and then that's the spot. Hold your leg up with your hand and see if you can release into the inner right hip. Keep the left knee pointing up at the ceiling. Hips are level, the shoulders are level. You've got the nice neutral curves in your spine, right? Take one more breath. And then bring it back to center. Take this leg across your body and maybe bring your toes into your left hand, maybe nowhere near that, right? Just let it relax to the left side. Extend your right arm back out to the right. You can look over your right hand. You just want to make sure your spine feels long and you're getting a nice twist here. So this right knee can be bent. Maybe the left leg reaches down toward the bottom of your mat. You can turn your head. Lots of different places to be here. So just take your time to find where your body wants to be. Take one more breath here. Bending at this knee again here. If you feel like you need to, bring it back up to center. And then release the right leg. Notice how your sides might feel a little bit different. So even the spine out again here. Find that middle place, that neutral spine, even hips, even shoulders, all that happy stuff. And we're going to work to the second side. So extending the left leg. Start here. Did you feel a shift? Reaching behind the thigh, taking a strap, whatever it is that you're going to work with here. And then keeping the spine neutral as we gently pull in, exhale, and release, inhale. So again, just nice and slow. That's a lot of time in that breath to find where the body is. Where do you start to shift or compensate? So once more here. And then find the middle. Open the arms or open the right arm. Support with the left hand on the outside of the leg. Slowly begin to take it left. Keep the hips even on the floor, the shoulders. Let the weight of the leg rest into the hand. One more nice big breath here. And then we're going to come back to the middle. Take the leg all the way across the body. And again, placing your foot maybe near your right hand, maybe not so much. Let it fall to the side. And yes, your hips are going to shift. Left arm extending back out to the left. And then you make the adjustments that your body needs. If you feel a little crooked, or if the knee needs to bend, or the right leg wants to be straight. Take your time. And there's so many places to be within a stretch. If you need 3 different variations as we hold, take them. Give yourself one more nice big breath here. Bend at the knee first if you need to. Bring yourself back up to center. And then release the left leg. Again, if you got a little crooked, make that aligned again. And then draw the knees into the chest and allow yourself to rock. So squeeze your knees into your chest as tight as you can get. See if you can wrap your arms across your shins, pull your forehead toward your knees, and squeeze yourself into this tiny little ball. Reverse that, taking a full body stretch. Get really long again, fingertips to toes. Release your stretch and let your arms come down by your sides. And then just take a moment. Are you neutral on your spine? Do you feel even across your hips and shoulders? Do your arms feel equally long, equally far away from the body? Same thing with your legs. When you find that position, release the muscles. Feel heavy into the mat. There's no more for the body to do, so release control of your breath. It'll do its thing. Work to keep your mind present, so if it helps to stay focused on your breath, keep the mind on the breath without changing. Allowing your mind to rest as deeply as your body here. So if you find yourself thinking about something, pull your mind back to your mat or your breath or how your body feels against the floor, so that the body is getting as much rest as the mind is getting as much rest as the body is. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath. let it all go. Begin to wiggle, move and stretch as your body feels ready. And then we'll bring the feet flat to the floor. Slowly roll yourself off to the side. Keep your eyes closed, your mind nice and quiet. As you gently make your way back up to seated. Drawing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks for playing today, you guys. Glad to see you all. All right, have a great weekend. Remember, check out my website and Facebook pages, emails, right, for the details on that program. I appreciate you all. Have a great weekend. Bye.